So let's begin by standing. You'll come up to a standing position, allowing the feet to start to separate apart, possibly hips distance apart. You'll keep a little give to the knees, and we'll start to relax the arms and shoulders. So just finding a point of focus on the ground or a head. You'll allow the shoulders on your next inhale to come up to the ears, creating some tension here, and exhaling the shoulders around down and back so the shoulder blades join together behind. You'll inhale, pulling the shoulders up to the ears, create that little tension, and exhale them around down and back. Do that just a few times, inhaling, creating a little bit of tension, exhale to relax the shoulders, make sure the knees stay somewhat relaxed, inhale, and exhale, shoulders relax. Here you're breathing in and out through the nose, inhaling again, and exhaling to relax. Just one last time, inhale, the shoulders come up, and exhale them around down and back. From here, you'll allow the feet to remain rooted into the ground. You'll send both arms up on the inhale, gazing up to the fingertips or palms. And then take your left hand and grab a hold of your right wrist. You'll lift up gently on the inhale and exhale over to the left here. So you're keeping a nice even pressure through both feet. You can gaze ahead or up. You're lifting up on that right arm and exhaling to lean over to the left. So you find a really long, nice space along the right side of body. If possible, you'll try to focus on sending the breath over towards that right side. Just take 2 more breaths, in and out through the nose, even breath. And the next time you exhale, just release both hands back down here. One more time just to keep some consistency. Shoulders come up to the ears on inhale. Exhale them around, down and back. Do that 2 more times. Again, you'll allow in the next inhale both arms to come up, looking up if possible, using the right hand to grab a hold of the left wrist, lifting up on the inhale, and leaning over to the right on the exhale. Again, a nice even pressure through both feet. Might keep a tiny little bend to the knees, and you're leaning over just as much as is comfortable here, making sure the neck is relaxed, kind of neutral, and taking 2 full breaths. Again, even breath, meaning inhales equal to exhales in length. And then the next time you exhale, both hands come back down again. You'll step up to the top of your mat or your space, bring the palms together, and press to the palms to open the chest, drawing shoulder blades together. Send both palms up on the inhale, looking up. Exhale as you bend from the hips to fold forwards. As you come up halfway in your next inhale, you'll bring hands to shins, flatten the back. Exhale, draw hands to the ground, and step back until you bring your body in towards a plank position, rooting the wrists into the ground right under the shoulders, using the fingertips for pressure, and starting to press the heels away from the head to protect the low back or keep it from sinking. We'll keep a nice long neck, go gaze down at the ground. If full plank here is not accessible for you, feel free to just soften down to the knees, relaxing the tops of the feet to the mat. You'll keep a 45-degree angle with the body if you are on your knees for the plank. Either way, you'll take 2 or 3 more breaths. Again, if in full plank, pressing the heels away from the head. And then if you weren't down to your knees, you'll soften down to the knees, you'll keep the elbows nice and close, tops of feet to the ground, and you'll exhale coming all the way to the belly here. You'll relax the legs, you'll hug the elbows back in towards the rib cage, press into the hands, and lift up just a little bit through the chest here. You're elongating head to toe. Try not to focus on lifting super high or low. Just lengthen head to toe, squeeze the inner thighs together. Take 1 more long breath. On the exhale, you relax the upper body or chest to the ground. 1 more time, elbows hug in, you'll press into the hands. Lift up this time through a tabletop position till the toes curl under, and you can press the hips up and back towards a downward facing dog. So you can always shorten the stance here, walking the feet closer to the hands. You'll keep a little bend to the knees since body isn't quite warm yet. And you'll keep pressing the hips away from the hands, always looking for length in the spine here. Try to relax the head or neck, shoulders. Take a few long breaths. The pace of your breath is just what's right for you. It can be as fast or slow as you need. And the next time your exhale comes, allow the knees to bend and look ahead and travel, walk, step, jump, however you need to the top of the mat. Halfway up on the next inhale, looking ahead, exhale as you fold. And inhale, you'll rise up to standing. You'll send the arms and gaze back up. And exhale, send the palms back to the heart. If you've shifted in your space, you'll take a step back towards the top of your mat or area and just relax the hands. You're going to take a nice step back with the right foot here, about at least 3 feet or so, maybe longer if you have nice long legs. You'll keep the feet kind of in the same line, more or less, so not too wide apart unless you really need a little bit better balance. Then you can separate the feet a little bit wider. You'll keep the right toes to face the top right corner of your mat or space, and the left knee to bend directly over the left ankle. So in Warrior One, the hips tend to face out here. You're going to want to take your left hand and press that left hip back a little bit so the hips face forwards. Looking for a stretch in the front right hip. You can keep the palms together, you can keep them on the leg, or you can send them all the way up to the ceiling. Keeping the shoulders relaxed, the chest nice and open, wide. Taking 3 breaths. And then the next time you exhale, you're going to open the arms to a T towards the front and back. Your back foot's going to open so it's parallel now to the short side of your mat or wall or space. And then if you're nice and balanced, you'll have a heel, front heel to back arch of foot alignment. You're going to press that back foot back a little bit, trying to draw the front thigh closer to parallel to the ground. The front knee always stays right over the ankle. So if you're looking down, you should be able to see the 2 big toes or so in your left foot or front leg. You're relaxing the shoulders, sending the gaze to that left middle finger. Taking 2 or 3 breaths. Again, you don't have to come all the way down so that leg is parallel, but if you can, do so. And then the next exhale, you're going to release that left elbow towards your left thigh or so. Pull the belly into the spine and send the right arm skyward or all the way towards the front of your space here, making sure the shoulder isn't rounding or in front of the face. You're keeping the gaze up if you're nice and balanced. Otherwise, a gaze down to the ground is perfectly fine too. So you want to make sure that the core is what's supporting you here. You might just for a second remove that elbow from your thigh and make sure that you're not completely slouching or leaning into the thigh. You have core supports, and you're finding a nice long stretch all the way along right side of body. 3 breaths. And the next inhale, the arms will come back up to the T. That front knee is still bent over the ankle. And then we're going to straighten that front leg and turn both feet in to face each other. From here, we'll just take a nice, simple forward fold. You can bring both hands to your hips. You're going to make sure that the feet are nice and parallel and wider than hips distance apart. We'll just take a nice, on your next exhale, a nice bend here from the hips, starting to fold forwards and allowing that upper body to come towards the ground. If possible, you'll try to relax the hands to the ground or fingertips. If you need to shorten your stance, bringing the feet closer together or bend the knees a little bit, that's fine. Whatever allows the hands to come towards the ground. If they just don't make it, that's okay too. Just make sure you're balanced or supported where you are. You can even still keep the hands to the hips if that's what's best. If hands do connect the ground and you're nice and comfortable, you want to try to lean forwards a little bit so you can send the weight into the hands, head, or toes to open the backs of legs. And from wherever you are, you're taking 3 breaths or so, allowing the upper body to start to relax on the exhales. Again, you don't have to come very low, but if comfortable, you'll really just allow the upper body to relax on the next exhale, relaxing the neck, head. Again, leaning forwards a little to open legs, backs of legs. And then we'll slowly press back up, lifting at least so your back is parallel to the ground. You'll just kind of heel toe the feet closer together a little bit. And you can send the hands back towards the hips and slowly come up on the inhale back to standing. You'll allow then that front foot to turn back towards the front, bending that left knee, sending those arms open to that T. Back foot is nice and kind of parallel here to the short side of your mat or back wall. And then the next time you exhale, both hands are going to come towards the top of your mat. Just lift your back heel and start to take some pulses here so you can send your body when you're ready up to the top of the mat to a forward fold. So a little bend to the knees, head will relax to the shins. Take one long breath. And on the next inhale, hands come to shins. You'll lift halfway up. Exhale as you fold. Inhale, create a little bend to the knees as you round up here, allowing when you're ready, hands to come all the way up towards the ceiling. So the bend can be small or big in the knees. You'll want to make sure the knees are kind of in line with the hips and the arms are kind of parallel to the back and the tailbone points down here rather than sticking the bottom out. Take 3 breaths. And on the next exhale, just straighten the legs, bring the palms together to the heart. This time you'll relax the hands. You'll take a step back with the left foot. The left toes face the top left corner of mat or space. Right knee bends right over the ankle. And the right hip presses back a little so hips face forwards. Hands can stay at the leg, at the hips, in prayer, or all the way up to the ceiling. Shoulders relax, gaze is down for balance. 3 breaths. And then just as before, you're going to open the arms to a T. So the hips are opening, the back foot is opening, the front heel matches the back arch. And then you'll allow, again, if you're nice and stable and comfortable, the feet to lengthen or the stance to lengthen and the front thigh to come closer to parallel to the ground. Relaxing the shoulders, taking 3 breaths. And then on the exhale, the elbow will come down towards the thighs just for kind of support. Most of your most of your support comes from the core. The belly pulls into the spine. Again, you can gaze down for balance or up to the ceiling. The left arm is raising towards the ceiling or front wall, wherever you feel the best stretch on the left side of your body. 3 breaths. Breath through the nose, nice and even. On your inhales, your belly should rise, expanding the flow of air. At the next inhale, the arms come back up to the T, the gaze comes to the front. And this time, once more, we'll send both hands to cartwheel towards the top. You'll flip that back foot and just start to pulse the weight forward so you can make your way back in 1 step or 2 towards the top of your mat to a forward fold. You'll relax the upper body. You can keep the knees bent a little, or maybe since they're warmer, the legs straighten more. And once more, you'll bring the hands to the shins, press up halfway on the inhale. Exhale to bring the hands to the ground. One more time, take a step back towards that plank position. Either full plank or down to the knees if that's best. Take just 2 breaths from either plank. Wrists under the shoulders. Gazes towards mat or ground. And then once more from wherever you are, you'll press back to a downward facing dog, sending the tailbone high, The hips away from hands, maybe a bend to the knees still, relaxing the head and neck. Take 2 more breaths. And on the next exhale, the knees will come down to the ground. You'll allow the wrists to root right under the shoulders here, and then just relax the tops of feet to the ground or mat. Just for a tiny little bit of core, a little bit of energizing, an energizing pose. You'll keep all 3 limbs rooted. Pick one leg and lift that leg up so that the leg is parallel to the ground and that the foot points down and the heel is pressing away from your head. You'll make sure that the body or the belly isn't dipping down here, that it stays nice and lifted, and the gaze is to the ground or mat. Back heel presses away from the head actively. If you're comfortable and balanced, then you can lift your opposite arm, pushing and reaching actively, again, not letting that belly dip down. Take 2 or 3 breaths. And on the exhale, you'll release, relax the hands and legs. Take just 1 cat-cow, allowing the belly to come down, head and hips to lift, expanding the chest, exhaling to round the back. And then releasing back to your neutral tabletop position, lifting that opposite leg so it's parallel to the ground, pointing the toes down. The heel presses away from the head. Again, you'll make sure the belly isn't dipping. You can stay right here, or if comfortable, lift that opposite arm. Pushing and reaching actively, 2 or 3 breaths. Neck is long, gaze is down at the ground. And then you'll exhale, releasing back to the tabletop position. From here, you'll just toss the feet to the side and find your way over to a seated position, allowing both feet to join together here. So you can kind of give your feet a little bit of, or legs a little bit of movement if they need. You're going to join the soles of feet together and use the hands, the thumbs rather, to grab inside the feet and the hands to wrap outside the feet. So you'll make sure your sit bones are rooted to the ground. Find a nice grip with the feet. And when you're ready, open the feet like a book so that your feet come open and your knees come a bit closer to the ground, opening the hips. You'll continue to pull the feet in towards the ground as much as is comfortable. Find a nice length through the spine on the inhale. And if you feel enough stretch here, opening in the hips here, just stay right here. Keep pulling the feet into the ground. If you're nice and comfortable and need a little bit more opening in the hips, you can begin to fold forwards or even allow the elbows to very gently assist the shins or thighs closer to the ground. Again, that's only if you need a little bit more opening. If you are using those elbows, make sure the shoulders aren't active. Just try to relax them. Use the hands or forearms to do the work. Either place, no matter where you are, you'll keep pulling the feet in towards the groin and take 2 or 3 breaths. Noticing the air enter through the nose, exit through the nose. And as we come back up on the inhale, you'll bring both feet together and just allow the feet to come in front of you a little bit, finding a nice sort of balance here, allowing the low back to be nice and firm, the belly to pull into the spine, and we'll come into one boat pose. So you'll keep the sit bones rooted, that nice firm low back, and hands can begin underneath the knees. You can keep the feet connected and lean back and find balance. If you'd like, you can lift one feet or both feet, or heels rather, or completely lift 1 foot or 2 feet. Knees can stay bent. Again, they can stay connected if that's better. If you're really nice and balanced here and the low back is still firm, you can straighten the arms or even the legs. You can keep the hands connected or release them. Either one of those places, you're going to pick whichever is best for you today. And take 2 or 3 more breaths. Make sure the back stays firm, the chest is lifted. And then you'll release the feet to the ground, allow the feet to relax. Just give your legs a nice little wiggle. And then we'll slowly pull the knees into the chest as you just come onto the back. Here you'll just wrap the hands around the shins and just allow your knees or hips to separate or move, making a few circles. You can even lift the legs completely. You just want to allow the hips to release, relax for a moment. So anything that feels good, just take a few breaths. And then you'll draw the knees back together. Allow the feet to come back to the ground, soles of the feet to the ground. And you'll relax the hands or arms just on your mat or the ground. So the feet are going to root into the ground or mat, approximately hips distance apart, and about a foot away or so from your bottom, maybe a little bit closer. You'll want to make sure that when you do lift up here through the back, although we're not doing that yet, that the knees will come over the ankles. So when you're ready, make sure the feet are hips distance apart, the hands are connected to the ground. And take a nice deep breath in, filling the belly and inhale. And then you'll press into the feet and lift the hips and the bottom and back on the exhale. Here, your knees are coming over the ankles. You're lifting as much as is possible. You can keep the hands connected to the ground. Make sure though that you're not pressing into the hands so much. You're really using the legs, the inner thighs contract together here to create that lift through the hips and bottom. If you're nice and comfortable here, you can also sort of shift your shoulders or wrap your shoulders underneath one at a time to create a little bit of an extra lift through the chest, and also to relieve some of the support from your neck. You can also interlace the fingers if they meet underneath you. You can press into the hands just a little to lift if that's not accessible. Again, you're just keeping the hands connected to the ground. You'll continue to lift and try to keep the glutes relaxed just a little bit. You're really using the inner thighs here instead. You're not tucking the chin at all. You're just allowing the back of the head to relax to the ground. Take 1 or 2 more breaths. Just keep breathing. And exhale, you'll slowly release the bottom of that back down to the ground. Pull the knees again back into the chest. You can rock side to side. You can allow the knees or hips to separate or make any circles that you need. Or even briefly just allow the feet to come up to the ceiling for a moment. You might allow a few rolls or movement to the ankles or legs, just relaxing the upper body. And slowly bringing the knees back to the chest. Give one gentle tug to the chest. And then just one leg at a time. Slowly set those feet down to the ground. Allow the feet to separate here. And allow the back to relax. The muscles and body to relax. Picking a place that's most comfortable for you to take just a few short breaths. You might allow the eyelids to close. You don't have to. Allow the muscles in the face to start to relax, the jaw to soften, the air to come and go on its own. And just take about 5 more breaths or so. Air entering, belly rising on the inhale, body and muscles relaxing on the exhale. Try not to feel a sense of rush, just 2 or 3 more breaths. And then just slowly, as before, bring the soles of the feet back to the ground, the knees up towards the ceiling. You can pull the knees then into the chest, slowly drawing them into the chest, giving yourself a tiny hug. or a big hug. And then releasing the soles of feet to the ground, you can slowly, however is most comfortable, come up to a seated position, just allowing a nice cross-legged seat, sending the palms into the heart, gaze down at the palms, just taking one moment quietly. Namaste, bowing the head to the hands. Thank you for your practice. Thanks for taking the time for yourself today. Please join me next time.